B207B, block 2, globalization. And today we will cover in week 5, we are going to cover reading 23, innovating and branding in a global context. All right. This is a continuity of what we have been discussing in week 4 last time when we discussed brands, global brands. We will also be discussing branding and innovation in this week. Now, you will notice every global brand that you look at, we will notice that innovation is extremely important. All the examples that we discussed about innovating in a brand are mostly for global brands. Otherwise, those global brands cannot be very special and very successful globally if they don't innovate. So when Coca-Cola had the name of their, they gave you the option to write your name on your bottle. This is an innovation and it's related to the brand. Another example, when Tom's Shoes decided to have to distribute a pair of shoes for every pair of shoes that the customer buys. This is also a brand innovation. It's related to the brand because it gives the consumer a certain idea, a certain perception about what the brand is about. So now you think that you have this impression that Tom's Shoes is an ethical company. They do good. They do well with other nations who are in need for these shoes, for example. So innovation is very crucial, specifically for brands and global brands. So there is this saying, innovations are the lifeblood of a brand. All right, innovations are the lifeblood. So basically, a brand cannot live without innovation. Another example that we also discussed last time is the color of the Milka chocolate. It's readily recognizable. Why? Because of the color, because of the vibrant color, because of the unique color. Not every piece of chocolate is wrapped with this purple color, but it is unique. It's a shade of purple that is very unique to Milka. This is also innovation. Okay, now think about Apple, think about Amazon, IKEA, how each one of these global companies create its own branding. They all have innovations in their own way. So today we will recognize how the global context shapes branding and marketing ethics as well. Many brand names have global recognition. The biggest brand names of the world, you will be able to recognize them as soon as you see their logo or their colors or their package or their wrapper. All right, this is what successful brands do. So very few, but the problem is that very few companies of these offer standardized products. Now, I want you to link this to what we have said in the previous week. What we said in the previous week, standardization versus customization. All right, this is the part that you have to write in your TMA. What do companies do to adapt their product to make it more suitable to the target market? Okay, so very few companies do standardized offerings across all countries. But what they do is selective globalization, what we call selective. What does this mean? It means that they change some of their product offering without losing their brand identity. This is the difficult part. It's for you to make some changes, but keep the brand identity as it is. Okay, so this means that brand offerings typically need to be adapted to suit consumers' needs and legislative requirements. You see the word adapted here? This is an extremely powerful word. Adaptation. It needs to be adapted to suit the target segment. Okay. A nice example I was thinking about yesterday is, nowadays I'm sure you watch Arabic series, right? Nowadays, it's very popular to take the series from a Turkish series and just make it an Arabic version without recognizing the differences between the Turkish culture and how people live their lives and the Middle Eastern, for example, culture. So the Arab viewer is coming to a shock that those Arab actors are acting and the story isn't really very suitable or appropriate to. Exactly. Okay, now here you see a lot of comments and people talking on social media that, well, the story is not very logical to us because it was taken as it is from the Turkish series and then it was just made in Arabic. So here comes the concept of adaptation, all right? The same story should be adapted, should be changed, customized in a way that suits the target market, which is now another target market. It's not anymore the Turkish viewer. Now it's the Middle Eastern viewer who will be looking at this the series, all right? So in many times, those series are failing because they were not adapted well to fit the target viewer taste. Okay, so think about many products around you and many things that will fail when they are not adapted to the target market. Okay, I thought that the series example would be interesting to you since now everybody is talking about this. It's very obvious how things are being copied and pasted as they are. Even the dialogue is the same. The words, what they say, the sentences, everything is just copied exactly the same. And sometimes this leads to failures. So as marketers, we need to be very careful about how we adapt our products. All right, is it clear? So here we need to adapt the products to suit local advertising regulations, cultural and social norms. This is what's mostly important. A new target market means new social norms, social class, people, they have different culture and habits and so on. So we have global brands. Those global brands use the same marketing strategy across all the countries that they deal with. And for some companies, this could be suitable, like Apple. They use a similar marketing strategy across the board. We have some international brands where you use some of the elements of the marketing strategy, but you might want to change a little bit with your product offering. So here, where a bigger percentage of adaptation or customization will be made. All right, like the example that we gave before about Zara. Zara changes the models and the clothing that are offered in different stores, depending on the culture and depending on who the target market is. Finally, local brands. The local brands operate in only one country, and they have a limited geographic area. Local brand is Herfi, for example. Is it only in Saudi Arabia? So if it's only in Saudi Arabia, this means it's a local brand. Al-Baik was a local brand until they opened another store in Dubai. But all the previous years, Al-Baik was a local brand, 100%. So what are the advantages of global brands? What kind of advantage do global brands have? The first one is something that we already discussed in the previous weeks, which is economies of scale. The word economies, it's more economical to produce on a bigger scale. يعني economies means اقتصاد, right? It's more economical to produce a bigger number of items. When you have a global company, it means you have so many markets, so you have to produce a lot of products, like IKEA. It sells its products in so many different countries, so they produce their products in big quantities. And this, this makes their cost per unit much less. Okay, will it cost you more if you produce only 10 t-shirts in your factory, or if you produce thousands of t-shirts? Thousands, of course, will be cheaper per unit, right? So this is what economies of scale mean. A stream of innovations, companies who have a global presence, so those global companies must be very innovative to differentiate themselves and to be more competitive. All right, so their innovations will be spread across so many different countries, and this is an advantage for them. An international image that is typically more appealing to the young. The global brands usually have a brand image that is appealing, that is very attractive to those people who want to be dressed up like somebody else, or who feel like if they are dressed with this brand, it means, you know, this gives them a certain social class or psychological satisfaction, and so on. So this is the advantage of global brands. Any questions so far? Any comments, examples? Is it clear? Okay, great. We also have advantages of local brands. What do you think are advantages of local brands?
Like, there are no risks, I feel. They have less complexity.
Yes, absolutely. They have less complexity in terms of management, maybe, because they are already operating in one country. So management and logistics and their problems are local. So solving a problem will be easier and faster than those of bigger and global companies. Absolutely, great answer. All right, so they are more flexible. They have the advantage of flexibility and also the flexibility to meet local consumers' needs. Because they are local, they understand the needs and wants of the local communities because they come from them. All right, the local businesses actually are people who are run by people who come from the same market. So they are closer to them and they understand them much better. Global companies, on the other way, they have to hire marketing research companies in order to understand the consumers. See, so it's more difficult, more complex, and farther away from the markets. So the local brands have close relationships with the brands. They have a close relationship, and trust by consumers are more trusted usually by consumers than big corporations, big brands that they don't feel like they belong to. Okay. So what are the recommendations for global companies to succeed in new markets? Of course, every time a global company wants to open a new branch, wants to have a presence in a new country, it needs to do some things in order to be successful. So first of all, it has to engage in cultural immersion. This means it has to understand the culture. All right. Without understanding the culture, a company can make so many mistakes, whether in the product design, the packaging, the advertisements, how you deal with people, how you communicate with your consumers. You could make mistakes if you don't understand how they think, right? So now think about yourself. If you travel to another country, let's say you travel to Mexico, and you need to communicate with somebody there in Mexico. You need some information. You need to understand the culture and how the Mexican people think in order to be successful in dealing with that culture, because it's a different culture than what you have. Same thing for global organization. It has to understand the culture, how people think, how they behave, what habits they have, and so on. So this is what we mean by cultural immersion. Okay, so it means understanding the culture very well. Finding and leveraging influencers. You need to find people to help you. Those influencers they should understand the culture, all right? And they will be the link between your global organization and the target market that you are after, right? Now, the word influencers now is very obvious for us to understand because we see influencers every day on social media. But this is not a new concept. Influencers were there even before social media was here. Okay? Influencers are people who influence the decision-making of a group of people. All right? So even before social media, celebrities and people who are well known in their communities were known as influencers. Okay, but nowadays, of course, influencers are mushrooming, the number of influencers is becoming much bigger because it's much easier now to create some content and post it on social media and gain some followers. All right. Now, the third point, the third recommendation is that you could use the global framework. What do we mean by global framework? Anybody? So you need a global frame. So your main idea will be global. So it will be international. Anyone could understand what it is. But the details inside, okay, will be more suitable to the local market. Okay, I will give you an example. Do you like Chinese food? Yes. I'm sure you have tried restaurants like, I don't know, Baituti, for example. You tried it? Type. This is not Chinese food. And anyone who has visited China says Chinese food tastes totally different. Okay? It's not that good. Have you been to China? And the food is different than the Chinese food that we taste here. Even the smell. Yeah. So this is what the adaptation of the Chinese food, as we see in other countries, in order for people to like it, it has been changed a little bit. The recipes are the same, the type of food, the ingredients that they use is the same, but the taste has been enhanced and adapted in a way that we like it. I bet if a Chinese person comes here and tastes this food, they would be very disappointed. They will not like it. All right? So by using a global framework, so you are making this food for mostly anybody could like it. All right? But also you want to include some of the relevance of the culture that you are giving or you are trying to sell this product to. Okay? This applies to so many other brands. McDonald's is a franchise that also uses some spices that are more appealing to the Middle Eastern consumer, for example. McDonald's in France sells macarons, all right, in order to appeal. So the frame is the same, the concept, the McDonald's image, perception, etc. is the same, but the details are more appealing to the market itself. All right, is it clear? Now, some global brands associate themselves to their country of origin. Why? Because their country of origin is a great country for the product. So now, if I ask you, where would you like to have your chocolate made in? What would you say?
I feel Belgium. I like the Belgium chocolate.
Okay, exactly. So this is a brand this is a branding associated to the country and not only the brand itself. Switzerland or Belgium are both very good in chocolate. Coffee. Brazil. Car, or Ethiopia, yes. Car. Germany. So you see how some products are being associated to countries that, if you see a brand of car that was made in Germany, you will automatically think that this is a great made car. A chocolate that is made in Switzerland or Belgium, this should be a great chocolate. So here we have many brands that have associated themselves to countries in order also to give a better image for their products. So here now we have the concepts of tribes and communities. These are two similar concepts. Tribes means قبيلة in Arabic, yes? So we have a tribe, and tribes is a rival to segmentation. So just like we do in segmentation, we divide the market into different segments. Here, the brand is the consumers of the brand form a tribe. Supporters and lovers of the brand, they come together through groups, through forums, through certain medium, and they form this coalition where they support the brand. Many of them get maybe some free samples or free products from the brand, to review the brand, to give their opinion, to shoot videos about the brand. We see them all the time on YouTube, on social media. This is what they do. They are the enthusiasts of the brand. So it's a network of heterogeneous persons in terms of age, sex, income, who are interlinked by a shared passion or emotion. So these people have different gender, they have different age, they live in different locations, they are different. The only thing that they have in common is what? Their passion or emotion for the brand. All right, this is what a tribe is. A brand community is also similar. It's a similar concept. It's a specialized, non-geographically bound community based on a structure of set social relations among admirers of a brand. So now if you go to Google and you write in Apple or, for example, iPhone communities, you see lots of communities for iPhone. The most popular ones are the ones for cars, Mercedes, BMW, or the people who like biking, Harley Davidson. These are examples of communities. If you are so interested about a certain brand of bag, for example, Chanel or Louis Vuitton, you will find lots of communities as well on the internet that, they have memorized all the different models and sizes and colors of each model that this company has. Cars, same thing, electronics, you name it. So if you have a passion for any brand, you could be part of their brand community. Now, Brands, as we have said, are a great way for companies to have a certain image and to sell their products more and to have higher prices. Of course, they have many advantages. However, as marketers, so if you become a marketer in the future, there are many things that we need to be careful about. Marketing for brands should be ethical. Okay, so we can't lie to the customer about the brand and about what this brand does. We need to be honest. We need to think about the customer, consumers as people, and not just a mean of making profit. We need to consider the best interest of the consumers. So if your product doesn't fit their need, you should let them know that our product does not fit your need, not just make them buy your product. Okay, so how many times have you seen a company doing that and the image in your head becomes even better, that the company wants what's best for you and doesn't only want to make money out of you? All right, so this is what? Shein, what does Shein do? Yeah, okay. So in your point of view that Shein has the same designs of clothing that Zara has for a quarter of a price. Okay, so this is a fraction of price. So instead of paying 200 riyal, you can pay 50 riyal for the same piece. Is that correct? Yes. So from one side, this is correct about Shein. However, Shein itself was has been having very bad times about its ethics because it deals with factories employing kids and employing people in poor conditions, poor working conditions. So on the other hand, it does have some ethical issues as well. This is what I'm saying. Okay, because it wants to reduce the cost of its products, it has to be very cheap in the production phase. Okay, so this is all about ethics. So in summary, this is what we discussed so far about ethics. Ethical marketing puts people first, not the profit first. Ethical marketers must achieve a behavioral standard above the law. So it's not enough only to abide by the law, but you have to be over the law and do something even better, whether helping the poor or being environmentally friendly or doing projects in the community that shows that your company is responsible, socially responsible. All right, all of these are ethical considerations that we will also discuss next week in week 6 material. Marketers are responsible for whatever they intend as a means or end with a marketing action. So any marketing campaign, any marketing packaging, let's say, marketers are responsible for it. If the package is not recyclable, this will harm the environment. All right, so marketers are responsible for all these decisions. Marketing organizations should cultivate higher moral imagination in their managers and employees. So this doesn't happen by chance. Actually happens because your managers are trained, because your managers know how to do this. Managers are the ones who take the business in that direction. Managers should articulate and embrace the core set of ethical principles. Okay, they should have the ethical principles themselves and also learn about them at their work. Okay, so yes, these are the main points here. These are the 7 perspectives for evaluating and improving marketing ethics. Okay, so for example, this code could be followed by organizations who want to be very ethical in their marketplace. And being ethical will definitely improve their what? The brand, their image, right? The position that we have in our heads about the brand. Okay, so this is all for today. Do you have any questions?